Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be Women Make It Easy When They Like You. So, I've done a lot of emails recently where a lot of guys are beating their heads against the wall trying to get women who have low interest to like them more, to pay more attention to them, or guys that are just staying involved with women that just have low to no interest at all, and they're not seeing it, they're not recognizing it. So I thought a good contrast would be a success story. And this particular guy, I've seen both him and his wife because they both study my work, and oftentimes are commenting on my Facebook page, even though I almost never go there and look at this stuff, or even my Instagram these days. I tend to just let my assistant handle that because there's just so many nasty people and feral humans that have negative things to say that I just would rather not be bothered. I like to create my content and have my staff put it out there, and then people can do with it what they will. But I mean, these two, it's just cute how watching them interact with one another. And they've been together for about 6 years now. They've been married for 2 years. And it seems like anytime I do happen to go check out the Facebook page to see what's there, they're commenting on something, which is really cool. So the guy wrote a success story about how they met, and it's a great contrast because you could see just literally from the moment they met, she really liked him, and she just made it super easy to be with her. And this is what you're looking for. Because the reality is, unfortunately, most of the women that you're going to meet are not going to have this kind of interest in you. Like I often say, you get maybe 1 to 3 of these a decade where just everything clicks, it's easy, it's effortless. And the rest, you're dealing with low to mediocre to no interest in you. Now, it's true that you can raise interest if it's really low, as long as there's enough. In other words, on a scale of 1 to 10, at least if she sees you as a 5, you can raise it. But you got to do a lot more work. You got to go out on more dates, and it just takes a lot longer to get her to the point where this woman just started out from the get-go. And so, like for me personally, it's when women really like you, when it's like love at first sight, and they're used to that, it spoils you. And then so to encounter, after you've had several of those kinds of relationships over the course of your life, and when you encounter the average hot, attractive woman who's got low to mediocre interest, is not really making the effort, you're just spoiled. You don't want to waste your time with women like that, because you know that if you just wait long enough, eventually you'll meet somebody else where that magic is just there from the moment you meet. To me, those are soul connections. To me, those are people that you're supposed to meet, just like your closest friends. It's like you meet people, guy friends, and you just like each other. You like hanging out together. You have similar goals, similar values, and it's just easy and effortless to be with them. And it's very rare. And as you go through life, I'm now 51, you recognize that, man, there's only a handful of people that you're going to meet over the course of your life that are going to remain in your life and that you're going to click with on that level. So it's worth the wait. And it's just too many people are so desperate to find somebody, they settle. A lot of women marry guys they're not even in love with, and the guys have no idea. And it's just so sad. So with that said, I got a quote that I wrote, and then we'll go through his email. So the quote says, "The best dating prospects have high romantic interest in you, and they make being together easy and effortless. The worst dating prospects have low to mediocre romantic interest, and they make being together difficult, challenging, and too much work for the reward. People who don't love, value, and respect themselves enough will spend way too much time trying to date those who have low to mediocre interest. Why? It reinforces their belief that they don't deserve to have what they really want by staying involved with those who hardly reciprocate any interest. Until you find someone who makes it easy and effortless to be with them, keep searching. Because there's nothing worse than being with someone who doesn't care about you in the same way that you care about them." So true. So let's go through his email. He says, "Hey, Coach, I started my success story with your book in December 2014. Obviously, he's talking about 3% Man, the first one. You can read for free at understandingrelationships.com. All you got to do is subscribe to the email newsletter. And you can also read my second book, Mastering Yourself. And my book of quotes book is coming out soon. I'm hoping weeks away. We're still getting the covers right for the hardcover and the paperback because they were a little messed up with some of the things. So we got new proofs coming. And so as soon as those are good, then we'll go ahead and publish it and upload the audible.com version. So hopefully in the next few weeks, maybe 30 days, we'll see what happens. But it's getting close. It's soon. And the second book of quotes is already done, by the way. So we'll probably be releasing that one maybe later this year, early next year as well. So he says, back to his success. He says, I started my success story with your book in December 2014, and I was 31 back then, weak, and had no clue about women at all. I got out of a divorce, and I never wanted that to happen again. Yeah, divorces are not fun at all. I had to change for good. So in other words, he hit the wall. He had a really painful experience, and he recognized, obviously, I'm not doing something right. And so that's what led him to my work. I started to work out, I lost a ton of weight, and I changed my whole life. Well, one of the best things you can do for your dating prospecting is just getting in shape. Because the reality, I think it's over 60%, at least in America, over 60% of the people are obese or overweight. And so when you think about just that, I mean, you walk down the street, it's like how many people, you can tell people that actually go to the gym and are in shape and take care of themselves and other people that don't. And usually even girls and guys that look good and just because they had good genetics, by the time they hit 30, they're overweight, they're out of shape, they're starting to get flabby and lose their looks. And most people just do nothing about it. So if you can take care of yourself and be in relatively good shape, you're going to look good for your age. You're going to look like a handsome devil like me at 51. I focused on the letter to my future girlfriend amid the important do's and don'ts from your book. So he's talking about there was an exercise in the first book, the love letter exercise, where you write a love letter to your future girlfriend and telling her all the things that you love about her and what you love about spending time together. And it's just one of the exercises to help you focus on what you want, because whatever you focus on in life will expand. I noticed that I never knew what I wanted till then. In January of 2016, I met this 10 years younger, stunning hot woman. Black hair, sporty, blue-green eyes, Julia Roberts type. She was pretty flirty, and I started to apply what was in your book. I did not want a relationship. It was not a must-have, but I gave it a try. So you notice his whole demeanor is like, hey, this is cool. Let's see where it goes. So now instead of, I hope she likes me, like most guys have the attitude, he's like, hey, let's see what happens. Because that's how most women are when they go out on a first date. They're like, do I like this guy? Is he good for me? That's the attitude you want to have. But most guys go out on dates and they're, what do I got to do to get this girl to like me? What do I got to do to get her? She asked me straight out if I have time for a date, and I told her, well, I'm very busy with my work, and I also have lots of things to do during the week. So she's asking about a date. I mean, she really liked him. And this kind of experience is exactly what I wrote about that I've experienced with some of the women in my own book, in my own life. And they are completely different. Like I said, 1 to 3 a decade. That's what I've personally seen in my own life. And I see the same kind of numbers with people that follow me. They kind of see the same thing. It's just very rare that somebody that you really click with comes along, whether it's personal life or professional life or just dudes you become friends with. And to me, I look at that and say that's the universe's way of saying, hey, you need to value this, because if that happened every day, if you like love at first sight happened every day, you would totally take it for granted. And so really good people that are good for you, good to you, and good for your soul, they hardly ever come along. And so when they do come along, it's obvious. You recognize it. And you'll make the extra effort. You'll reciprocate because you want them to stick around, because it's so rare to come across somebody like that where you kind of feel like your souls are aligned. She looked at me and told me straight, well, whenever you have time, give me a call. Here is my number. I did not react at all. In other words, hey, this kind of thing happens all the time. But if you're selective and you have lots of choices and lots of options, you're like, oh, this is an interesting prospect. Let's see where this goes. So he's not like, oh my God, a woman. Like some guys seeing or talking to a woman is like a zoo animal to him. It's like a big deal. Whereas he's like, hey, it's just another cute chick that likes me. He says, I told her thanks, took the paper, and walked away. The week passed, and I did not call her at all. Interestingly enough, she sent me a friend request on Facebook. See the difference? She really likes him. And the fact that he's in no rush, whereas probably most of the guys she meets are in a rush to make something happen, it's a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. And she already really liked him to start with, and now she's liking him even more because he's going really slow, slower than she is, which is the ideal speed. She was in the same Facebook group about a TV series from the 1980s that I liked as well. I did not react. I kept her hanging on. I waited another week before I added her. She started to write me and asked me why did I not contact her. After 2 weeks, I told her I was busy, which was not even a lie since I worked a late shift back then. So if you've studied Doc Love's work, he's since passed away, by the way, I reference, but you can still get his book. One of the things he always used to say was 5 to 9 days after you get a number. So depending on when you got the number, you would wait 5 to 9 days, almost 2 weeks. People are like, how can you do that? Women who really like you, they'll like you more. Women who have an attitude issue or who are insecure, it'll piss them off. But she had a good attitude. She asked me to call her, and I told her I only have 10 minutes. Scarcity creates value. When she was on the phone, I say it as you wrote. I have a free spot next Friday at 8 in the evening. He says, I told her the place to meet up, and then I told her that I was busy having stuff to do. She was bubbly, but I told her to save it all up for next week. So in other words, she probably wanted to continue talking to him. He's like, hey, I got to run. He's nice, he's respectful, but he's just busy. And obviously, this is going to drive her crazy for him even more. Because she's like, what is with this guy? It is better because Zen My Mind is free for good talk. She was mixed up a bit, but okay. So obviously she was disappointed that he didn't spend more time talking to her. Just like in show business, always leave them wanting more. After that, I posted a status on Facebook later that week that I have a date with a very special lady. The girl was asking me out of the blue who the lady was. I did not write her back. To be honest, I did this on purpose because I was teasing. That special lady was my car. It needed work done. I never told her. From that moment on, her interest level started to rise even higher. It was already high, probably like an 8 to begin with. Maybe a 7 right in there, 7 or 8 on a scale of 1 to 10. But no matter how much text, calls, or whatever she got on me, I kept it cool. We finally met up on the date, and I gave her a great time. I did not talk like you say in your book. In other words, she did 70 to 80% of the talking, and he just asked questions. I wrote down quality questions before the date at home, and I let her do all the talking. He's German, by the way, so his English is not perfect. On the way back, she bumped into me all the time, and her arm touched me while walking next to me. More indicators of interest. This is women, they touch you physically when they really like you, and yet he didn't do anything. Okay, hey, this happens all the time to me. I'm used to this. So in other words, he's kind of skeptical and selective. She was so much in her 90s that she, in other words, 9 out of 10, that she lit up like a light bulb. After I walked her to her car, she hugged me very tight with love. I thought about what would James Bond do and went for the kiss. It was awesome. During the next 90 days, we got into a relationship and the other guys fell out of competition. I never had any competition at all. Yeah, more than likely she was way more into you than any of the other guys that she had met. And she had to work for you. She had to work for your attention and validation. And therefore, she liked you more. And she made it even easier for you. He says, it was amazing to see how the media and songs messed up these guys. I was on the same page 2 years ago, and it felt good to be on the right side now. My now girlfriend told me that nobody ever did what I did to her at all. Cheers, bro. Welcome to the... well, he's been in the 3% club for several years now, so... We got engaged after 1 year, and I never got tired of her at all. Our sex is awesome. The love is always there. We work together as a team on a great relationship. Now I sit here, and it's 5 years past, and we're now married. It's 2 years. Thank you for making a man out of me with your book. Well, thanks for being a great student, you and your wifey both, because I know you guys both study. At least a 3% man I know, and I assume you probably read Mastering Yourself as well. So here's a toast to you guys and your relationship and your love. Thank you for sharing a great success story. And so if you'd like to get my help personally with a personal or professional challenge that you're having, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.